again. We're live today, and so that means chat is open. If you have some questions, you can ask them, and if they're good questions, I'll relay them. If you know, I need to help. I need you to contribute to the conversation if you're going to jump in here, but you're invited to. This will be an interesting conversation today. The coronavirus is ravaged. Obviously, started in China, causing all sorts of problems and heartache here in the United States, just devastated Italy, Spain. But another country that you saw on that list that it hit pretty hard was Iran. And we don't always know what's going on in Iran, and certainly don't always trust the government. But if you followed Iran over the last several years, you'll see some interesting things going on among the people. We're going to get an inside look at that today. I've got Dr. Hormoz Shariat, if I pronounced that correctly. I'm so bad at that. Right now with me on Skype, and he is with Iran Alive, and he's going to tell you some amazing things you probably don't know about the nation of Iran. Dr. Shariat, how are you doing?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for inviting me to share. It's exciting.
Well, this is interesting to me because, Americans, I confess, in my opinion, tend to be very self-centric. We kind of know what's going on in our borders and not much else. So it's good to find out what's going on, especially in the body of Christ, in countries that are somewhat closed to Western society. So let's give us a little bit of background. How you got to America, how you became a Christian, why you're interested in helping Iran.
Well, wonderful. I'm going to share briefly about myself, but what God is doing in Iran is historical, and I want everyone to know, be encouraged, number one, and number two, get involved. This is time to bring an Islamic nation to Christ. I was born in an Islamic family in Iran, and I was pretty much devout Muslim in early years. When I got to my teenage years, I said, this is silly. I just repeat these prayers and doesn't add anything to my life. So I stopped doing that. I said, I'm going to focus on science and I'm going to be a good person. My dream was come to United States, get a PhD, be a research scientist from childhood. So I worked towards that end. At 79, during the revolution, I was on the streets of Tehran. I was a student, just graduating, about to come to U.S. And I'm sorry to say, I was one of those who were shouting, death to America, during the revolution. And of course, I've changed my mind since then. I love America. I sing God Bless America. And I mean that. This is a blessed country, and I'm proud to be a citizen here. But, when I was saying death to America, in my heart was saying, please, not yet, because I want to go get my education there. So, and that's an important point, because not only me, Iranians in general love Americans. That's the first shocker, because what you see on television is, oh, death to America, death to Israel. But when you talk to people, which I do, because we do a 24/7 satellite broadcast into Iran, we go over the heads of the mullahs into people's homes. I've done it for 20 years. Connected with tens of thousands of people. We have hundreds of underground churches there. So I'm in touch with the people of Iran daily. And they love America.
Okay,
Let's settle that.
Let me ask you about that, because I got to tell you, it seems like about half of Americans don't like America. What is it, right? I mean, you know this. What is it, though, that Iranians like about America, or at least the idea of America?
The democracy, the culture, in their mind, America is the greatest country in the world. As you said, some Americans don't think that way. I can boldly say there is no nation, there's no country in the world that loves America as Iranians do. They love the freedom is here, democracy, freedom of religion, freedom to pursue your dreams, very small control by the government of the people's decision in their lives.
Yeah.
So everything, and they like the culture, they like the movies, they like the music, everything American. They love it.
Interesting. All right. So tell me about a little bit more about you. I know you want to really talk about the Iranian people, and I definitely want you to. But I'm a little curious about you because you said you wanted to become a scientist, come to America. So you came and you went to University of Southern California and got your PhD in. Tell people about what your PhD is in.
Well, it's on artificial intelligence. Of course, those days it was a very fresh field, and I love that field. I still do. So I did research for 11 years in that field, and I got my PhD in that field. But when I was a student, this is right after revolution, I'm a PhD student, and I said, wow, look at this. Islam is taking over the world. It has defeated superpower USA. Maybe I should go back to it. Maybe I've been ignoring it. I want to be a good Muslim. But something inside of me said, but you tried it. It didn't add anything to you. So externally, it looked like the right religion. It's taking over the world. Internally, it didn't do anything for me. So I said, I'm a scientist. I'm an intellectual. I'm going to read Quran one more time, objectively. And if it's true, I'm going to dedicate my life in serving Islam and Allah. So I read Quran. I knew a lot about it, finished. But when I finished, I said, okay, where is God? I don't have a connection with God. And this thing doesn't add anything to my life. Maybe a little bit of knowledge, but no change. So out of my intellectual pride, I read the Bible. I said, I'm going to read the Bible. So if people ask me about God, I said, I've read them all. I read Old Testament, New Testament. I did not expect to find anything new in the Bible. The reason, Islam teaches people that Islam is the last and most complete religion, and Quran is the most complete book. So I didn't expect to find anything new. I said, I was searching for God 14 to 16 hours a day those days. So I said, I'm going to read the whole Bible in 3 days. Just going to skim through it. I got the Bible, read Genesis, jumped to Matthew. I wanted to read the whole thing in 3 days. 3 months later, I was struggling with Jesus in Matthew 5. Who is this Jesus? He is not the prophet that Islam, it tells me. And the more I studied, the more questions I have. Another intellectual idea. Oh, all the religions are the same. Why do they fight? If you really study them, they converge. Many intellectuals, even today, think that way. Mm-hmm. The more I compared, they did not converge, they diverged. Both could not be true. The more I studied, instead of answering questions, I had more questions. Mm-hmm. Eventually, a friend invited me, a Spanish friend invited me to the Church of the Open Door, downtown Los Angeles. This is where J. Vernon McGee was the previous pastor. He's still on radio these days. So I heard the simple message of the gospel there. Sometimes I feel scientists, our job is to make simple things complicated. But it was so simple. I heard this message. Do you believe God loves you? I said, well, that makes sense because if he made us, he likes us. If I do a project at school, I kind of get connected to it. Number 2, do you believe you can never reach God? I said, well, if the Sermon on the Mount is a standard, none of us qualify for him. He is perfect. We are not. And number 3, he said, do you believe that God, because God loved you and you could not reach him, he reached out to you? I said, that makes perfect sense. If I love somebody and they cannot do something for themselves and I can do it for them, of course I will do. He said, that's what God did. The moment he said that, the Holy Spirit fell on me. My eyes were open. My heart was open. I felt the presence of God, and I was changed with him. So the pastor said, do you want to pray to receive Christ? I said, I just did in my heart. He said, no, you got to pray. I said, no, I don't need to pray. I have it. So he made me pray. He forced me to pray, which is good because you have to confess with your mouth. Believe in your heart and confess with your mouth. Right. My life was transformed. My marriage was saved. And I got excited. Randy, why did I get excited? I'm an engineer. I'm looking for things that work. So I said, this thing works. This simple message, which a child can understand, can transform lives, heal marriages, even transform societies. And I felt something, I hope everybody feels that way. I felt I am selfish if I keep this message to myself. This is a solution to human problems, marriage problems, society problems. So I need to share that. That's how I started sharing the gospel with Muslims in Southern California.
That is a fabulous story. And so anybody that jumped in late, we're talking to Dr. Hormoz Shariat of Iran Alive. This is his website. And do you realize that if you listen to all that, if you didn't, you need to go back and listen to the replay. But you just heard someone who was from Iran, raised a Muslim, chanting death to America, came to America, very intelligent. You don't get a PhD in artificial intelligence unless you're smart, so I'll just say that so he doesn't have to. Wanted to investigate, read the Quran, read the Bible, just so he could master it in a sense, or at least say that he understood and could dismiss it at that point, and it changed his life. All right, so anybody, if you're not a Christian, I would just invite you to do exactly what this intelligent scientist did. Do your research. I think you'll find out that there's something there. Let me ask you, Dr. Shariat, now that you have rejected Islam in a sense and embraced Christianity, what is your view towards Muslims?
I love them. and that's a big statement, because my younger brother, when I was a new Christian, my younger brother, 16, was arrested by the government of Iran on minor political charges. They kept him for 2 years. They told my mom, oh, he's doing fine, we're going to release him. When he turned 18, they executed him. They called my mom, come and get his body. The government of Iran executed my younger brother. And you know what? When my mom went there to get the body, they charged her for the bullets. They charged her for the cost of killing her son. So I was a new believer. I was just struggling. God, what is this injustice? For 2-3 days, I was mourning, crying, and talking to God. And this is what happened those 2-3 days. I said, God, I hate him. I want to take revenge. And I realized the Bible, God says, revenge is mine. So I said, I'm sorry, Lord. I understand. I'm not supposed to take revenge. But, you know, I hate him. I hate those people. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to hate. I'm supposed to love my enemies. Oh, okay. I'm angry. Oh, yes. Sermon on the Mount. You're not supposed to be even angry. I was frustrated. I said, God, what is this? What do you do against injustice? Can I at least cuss at them so I can feel better? So I felt, no, you cannot cuss. You worship with that mouth. You cannot do that. So I felt during those 3 days, the Lord told me in prayer, I want you, first of all, those people are not your enemy. There is only one enemy, and that's Satan. Those people who killed your brother, they're victims themselves, the victims of a religion that's a dark religion that enslaved them. And number two, don't hate them, love them, because love is the greatest power that we have on this earth. So those days I dedicated my life. I said, I'm going to love Muslims, and Lord, would you use me to share the gospel with 1 million Muslims in my lifetime? I never realized later I will be on television, a satellite 24/7, and we passed that number, but God is gracious. And so the passion and the opportunities all provided by God, and it came through the death of my brother. So my commitment, I love Muslims. And I want to encourage your viewers, the greatest power we have against Islam is love.
Wow.
And because there's no love in Islam, and may I challenge you respectfully, may I say, if you hate Muslims, don't like them, or if you're afraid of them, may I say, because a spirit of Islam is fear and hatred. May I say, if you're afraid of them and you hate Muslims, may I say you are submitting to the same spirit of Islam. You're submitting to that spirit. How do you break it? Yet God's love and courage, love Muslims, connect with them because many of them are ready to receive Christ.
Wow. You know, it's one thing to read or repeat the phrase, bless those who curse you. It's an entirely different thing when you do it. And to see you doing it and encouraging others to do it is really just a testimony to the transforming power of God in our lives. Talk to us about Iran Alive, what it does, what you're doing, and how people can get involved.
We have a 24/7 broadcast. We are on internet and everything, but internet in Iran is controlled by the government. But airwaves, they can't stop it. We go over the heads of the mullahs. We go from sky. It's not a local broadcast. From the sky, going to people's homes, in the privacy of their homes, they hear the gospel. I want to shock you. Islam has experienced its greatest defeat in its history in Iran today. Iran, millions of Muslims in Iran are done with Islam. You're talking about coronavirus. That was another step of discrediting Islam and the government of Iran. The killing on streets the last few months, 1,500 young people have been killed on the streets. They shot down a passenger plane by mistake. So all of these, the hearts of the people of Iran is separating from government and Islam. Both are the same. That's an Islamic government. And that has made Iran an open heaven for the ministry. There is a history in the making in Iran. And may I shock you another way. Iran will be a Christian country. And that's not because of my zeal. It's not because I say, because God says that. Jeremiah 49:38. Jeremiah 49:38, God says, I will set my throne in Elam. And Elam is totally inside land of Iran today. And I see that's happening. We're moving in that direction fast. When he says, I will set my throne, it doesn't mean just many Christians. Includes that, not just many churches, yes. But Iran will be a nation where Jesus is known and obeyed and worshipped in every segment of the society, including media, government, marketplace, education, every segment, they will know Jesus and obey him. That's the future of Iran, and we are fast moving in that direction.
What can be done to hasten that?
Let's join together. Nobody knows exactly how many Christians. Some people say 1, some people say 2, 3 to 6 million Muslim background believers in Iran. Do you know what the number one request I get from underground churches? Before that, let's say evangelism, forget it. It's done. It's easy. I just shared the simplest message on the air. People call and just come to Christ. Now, how we can hasten it? Let's disciple that nation.
Yeah.
There are 40,000 new believers every month. Right now, it's about 2 million believers. Number one request from underground church in Iran: please teach us the Bible. Please help us grow, equip us so we can serve. And they're ready to live, many of them ready to live and die for Jesus. So my call is, would you join me in discipling that nation? You say, how we can do it? I would say, of course, prayer, because we are facing a dark spirit of Islam. And number two, I would ask you to, of course, the financial support always needed, but number three would be, would you join broadcasting on our channel? I have 24/7, and I'm there 2-3 times a week, and all these hours, hungry people are sitting there, and I do reruns. They said, please, more new programming. And I want to challenge, if you have a ministry with media, if your pastor is doing media, if you are doing media, would you consider joining us broadcasting into people's homes? And these are hungry people. Can I share a story that shows the hunger?
Yeah, please. Let me curious real quick. Are you broadcasting in English, or are you broadcasting, is it Farsi over there?
We do Farsi, but we translate or subtitle the English messages.
Okay.
Voiceover or subtitle. Now, just to show the hunger of these Christians, there was this lady who called me, after the program, I had time to talk to her, and she had such a biblical worldview. I was amazed. She knew the Bible. She was reciting verses as we were talking by heart. And I was saying in my heart, oh, some of my elders don't have that complete worldview that she does. She gave the best review on why persecution is good for a Christian with many verses. Talked about Christian marriage, many verses by memory. So 20, 25 minutes later, I'm enjoying, and I'm jealous because I say, I'm as a pastor, I don't know as many verses as she does. So I said, I'm sorry, lady, I need to go back and have a meeting. Just tell me why you called. And she said, well, I called because I need a Bible. I don't have a Bible. What? You're a walking Bible. How did that happen? When did you come to Christ? She said, over a year ago. In 1 year, you know the Bible. How did that happen? She said, I watch your program. And when you preach and you teach, I jot down the notes. But when you use a Bible verse, I write it down, I memorize it, and I do it. Isn't that the key to discipleship?
Yes.
That's the hunger. People are spiritually hungry in Iran. It's supernatural hunger, and we need to work together to disciple that nation. And once Iran is saved, the whole Middle East will be impacted.
You know, a scripture that's been I've said many times during this coronavirus is one that certainly applies when it comes to Iran, because the one, you know, God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. Well, we, as a nation, America has feared Iran since I can remember. I mean, you know, I remember back in the Carter era about my first memories of anything political. And yeah, Iran was always, you know, the one to be afraid of. But God doesn't give us that spirit of fear. What does he give us? Power. The power to go in and change lives with the gospel like you're doing. Love, which you very eloquently pointed out, is the antithesis of Islam and the remedy to it. And then sound mind, the discipline to be faithful, to disciple people. I mean, I just, this is an amazing testimony, and I'm thrilled to hear it. Let me ask you a little bit. Well, first of all, let me go back and tell people, we're talking to Dr. Hormoz Shariat, and this is his website, and if you want to spell it right, there's his name at the top. So it's hormozshariat.com. You can go visit that and see what's going on. And right now you've got on your homepage something about the Soleimani assassination. You also just mentioned that 1,500 students or young people had been killed. What is going on right now in Iran?
With coronavirus, it's another step in the right direction. Right direction, I mean the Christianity of Iran. Iran becoming a Christian nation. So what coronavirus has done, many people, first of all, so many are killed. The numbers they're giving out is lie. It's incorrect. I'm in touch with people of Iran. So many are dying with coronavirus, and the government does not care and cannot do anything for them. So the government has been discredited even more, that you do not care for our people. That's what another reason. There is a good news here. The last month, we are seeing a surge in the number of salvations. We are seeing people contacting us. And the coronavirus made people stay home, watch our program during the day. We only had night program, and call us and contact us. So we are seeing more people getting saved these days. So with coronavirus, the government is completely discredited. They saw the cruelty of their hearts. When the money comes in, it never goes to the people. Even with Obama, there was no sanctions during Obama years, and he gave them 150 billion people. So it didn't really help people. And people of Iran said, when there was no sanctions, when you had the money, you didn't help us. Now there is sanctions, and and the oil price is down. We understand, but it didn't make any difference for us. Interesting, Randy. I'm hearing from people in Iran, you know what they say? They're saying, United States, President Trump, please add to the sanctions. They're not against sanctions. The people
Really?
of Iran are not against sanctions. Why? They said because it doesn't make difference for us. Sanctions, no sanctions, we're miserable.
Yeah.
At least with sanctions, maybe you put pressure on the government and maybe they will topple. So the people of Iran are pro-sanctions, amazingly.
Yeah, but so easing the sanctions helps the government, but not the people. That's what I'm hearing, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Well, you talk about the Soleimani thing because what's going on? What's the impact in Iran of the fighting that's going on and the proxy wars in Iraq or Syria, elsewhere?
Well, at this point, Iranian government is in trouble because of income. The sanctions, the oil prices are down, and so and the major income was oil price, and so they're shrinking. So I expect their involvement in those countries will shrink also. They are in survival mode. They're approaching that. So giving them money, some people, some news people would say, "Oh, with Obama giving them money, they use the money to kill Americans." It's kind of true because it enabled them to expand their terrorist activities. But right now they're shrinking. How far they shrink, I don't know. But Iranian government is in the survival mode right now.
Let me ask you this: if the Iran is Shia, right?
Yeah.
If there is a collapse of the government, is there any danger of a Sunni sect? Saudi Arabia, I believe, is Sunni. Is that right?
Yes.
Is there any danger of another brand of Islam moving in as opposed to Christianity?
Not at all. Islam as a whole is discredited.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No. People have no interest in Islam. When I witness to Iranian Muslims, I don't bring up Quran. They're done. They're done with Islam, with Quran. Just present Jesus. Jesus is very attractive to them.
That's great. I mean, because Jesus, Isa, is in the Quran, so there's at least some knowledge. How do you present Jesus to a Muslim?
This is generally, I start with God, and my approach, the first approach is that they have lied to you. See, I'm using their disenchantment with the government. Say, these mullahs have lied to you about many things. They said, yes, all 40 years of lies. And I tell them they have lied to you about Jesus also. So they accept that. Yeah.
Wow. That's great. Before we go, tell us real quick how people can get involved, and even people that don't have any kind of media ministry or outlet, just normal people that say, I want to pray, but what else can I do? You've got a text.
Yeah, let's be in touch and be informed. If you text the word to a number which I give you, I will send you testimonies. Sign up for our newsletter when you go on our website, and I will give you updates. Amazing daily testimony. Yesterday, I heard the testimony. I cried. It's an amazing work of God. I want to share those testimonies and updates with you. So the best way to connect with us is to text a word to a number. The number, like instead of putting somebody's phone number, put this, 74784. 74784. 747 is just like airplane. 74784. And then you go, just text one word, Iran. IRAN. I'll send you links to testimonies, amazing testimonies, link to our website, and you can go from there according to your interest. And we'll be in touch.
All right. If this is something that you're interested in, get in touch. You can do that the texting. Here I was trying to pull up the website when I went blank on you a second ago. Iran Alive Ministries.org. You can get more information there, follow up, get involved, read some stories. This is the kind of thing that I get kind of excited about because we're sharing Jesus into an area where they're desperate for some real solutions and some real change. And Dr. Shariat, I really appreciate your testimony. It's inspiring. And then the fact that, I'm sure the artificial intelligence field could use your expertise, but I'm kind of glad that you're working to spread the gospel around the world. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Randy, for allowing me to share. And I would love to invite you to come and be a guest on our studio when the virus is gone.
Yeah, I would love to do it. We are not that far apart,
Yeah.
both here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So you tell me how I can serve you guys and serve the Lord, and I will be glad to do that. So I really appreciate you and all that you're doing. We're getting some great feedback, by the way. And so I encourage any of you guys that are leaving great comments to contact Iran Alive Ministries, IranAliveMinistries.org. So go check that out. This is fun. It's fun sharing the gospel around the world. Any last thoughts, any last words from you, Dr. Shariat?
I want to encourage the Christians, when challenges like virus comes, both in Iran and America, new opportunities open up. So let's not be like the rest, be fearful and miss these opportunities to shine for Jesus. I feel this is a time for the church, even in America, to rise and shine. Let's not be like others. In camouflage, if you look like your background, you disappear. So we Christians, if we look like the background, the rest of the people, we're non-existent. We disappear. We got to be different. And this is the time, the challenge for the U.S., we need to rise and shine.
Couldn't have said it any better. What a great word, encouraging word. You guys need to share this. So wherever you're at watching this right now, go up there and click share. If you haven't followed or subscribed, do that so you'll get notifications from more great interviews, because this is inspiring information and we got more great testimonies coming up. So thank you for joining us today. Join us every day, Monday through Friday on Life Today Live.